25th, 2009. When a person disappears without a trace, often the most critical information is hidden in their actions and words from the days before they vanished. Brittany Drexel's last known whereabouts may hold the clues to what happened to her. A teenager from Rochester, New York sneaks away for spring break without her parents' permission.
Brittany, she liked to play both of us. You know, if mom said no, dad said yes.
Being a 100-pound, pretty teenage girl, that's not an area where you want to be by yourself.
While walking back to her hotel, she suddenly vanishes.
I knew something was wrong. I knew that there was a problem of 30 minutes going by without talking to her.
Have recent problems at home pushed her to the breaking point?
That was a warning that I need help.
What or who could have led Brittany so far from home?
Where's my little girl? Is my little girl being tortured? Did my little girl get hurt?
14. We became best friends, got to know each other, and been so close ever since.
She used to like to joke around a lot, laugh. Just her smile just made you smile back.
She was such a fun-loving girl and just smiling all the time.
April 22nd, 2009. It's spring break for high school students in Rochester, New York. And with a long winter barely behind them, 17-year-old Brittany Drexel is ready for some warm sunshine. It's a long-standing rite of passage in the Rochester area for high school seniors to spend part of the week-long break in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Just kids, no parental supervision.
There was about 30 to 40 kids going down to Myrtle Beach, and it's kind of a tradition for them to go down there. It's just like any other tourist area. You got hotels, you got shops. Those kids are going down there, drinking, doing drugs, partying, going out to night spots, and laying out on the beach.
Brittany, a high school junior, is friendly with some older kids who ask her to join them for the trip down to Myrtle Beach.
She had asked me if she could go to Myrtle Beach, and I had told her no, and I also told her you need to talk to your father. I know he wouldn't have allowed her to go, but, you know, she still needed to talk to both of us. And, you know, Brittany, she liked to play both of us. Mom said no, Dad said yes.
Dawn and Chad Drexel have recently decided to divorce. Their separation has taken a toll on Brittany and her two siblings.
That Tuesday, Dawn called, 8-ish or something at night. Said, your daughter's not listening to me. She's bringing up this spring break. She wants to go down.
According to Chad, Brittany had recently been sleeping late and skipping school. In his mind, it was no time for her to be going on vacation without parental supervision.
So I told her, Brittany, what's going on? Where are you telling your mother that you want to go to spring break? You're not going anywhere. Silence. She didn't say nothing. Do you understand me, Brittany? Yeah.
The next afternoon, Wednesday, the dispute continues. Brittany is so upset, she storms out of the house. She calls her boyfriend, John Greco, and asks him to pick her up. John, who has been dating Brittany on and off for over 2 years, knows how much Brittany wants to get away for spring break.
Her junior year was a tough year for her. She was dealing with her family being in a divorce. Any problem that me and her would have would escalate the anxiety that she was carrying.
Brittany's close friend Tara has seen how hard junior year has been for her classmate.
She just wanted to hang out with her friends, just not have to stay home. She wanted to go away for spring break. She wanted to just be able to have fun for a week outside of Rochester.
In the months before her disappearance, Brittany has had her share of problems. She overdosed twice on her mom's pain medication. Both times are after a major breakup with John. Brittany's father believes she was feeling the strain of her parents' divorce as well.
In my heart, I felt like this is all my fault because I left the house and now all these things are happening. I went straight to the hospital. They pumped her. She didn't take as many as everyone thought. But that was a warning. that I need help.
I could remember the look on her face. Her face was just all red, and she was just crying. Tears were just coming down her face, and I looked at her and I said, Britt, why would you do this? Why? Nothing in life is that bad to do this.
Brittany began seeing a counselor and eventually reconciled with John. This kind of troubling behavior was unusual for her. Brittany had been a carefree child. She talked about becoming a nurse and was also passionate about soccer.
She was just the fastest on that field, no matter what team she played. It's the one thing that every coach always said was, I've never seen a girl that fast.
Brittany, she's energetic, happy-go-lucky. She was the type of person that would walk into a room, no matter if it was the most depressing day of the week, she would light up that room.
But Brittany's fun-loving spirit is dampened on Wednesday, April 22nd, when her mother refuses her request to go to Myrtle Beach for spring break. Brittany bends to her boyfriend, John, after leaving the house in a huff.
When Brittany had told her mom that she wanted to go to South Carolina, her mom, obviously being a parent, said, no way, you're not going to South Carolina. You're 17 years old. And Brittany retaliated. She got into a fight with her mom. Brittany gave me a call. I came and picked her up and took her to her friend's house.
Later that day, Brittany makes one last request to go to Myrtle Beach.
Well, she had to call and apologize how she acted that day. She says, Mom, can I go to Myrtle Beach? And I told her no. And she goes, why? And I said, Brittany, because first of all, I don't know the people that you're going with. I said, there's no parents. And I said, something's gonna happen. And I said, I don't want anything to happen to you.
Brittany then proposes a new idea for her spring break. She asks her mother if she can spend the rest of her vacation at a friend's house nearby. Her mother agrees. Brittany promises to stay in touch by cell phone over the next few days. But in reality, Brittany makes very different plans, which she shares with her boyfriend, John.
She said, you know, a bunch of my friends want me to go down to Myrtle Beach with them. And I told her, I think it's a good idea. I think you can get away from Rochester. I think it would do you good if you go down to South Carolina for 3 days. Because really, in my eyes, what was gonna happen in 3 days?
Coming up, Brittany's boyfriend's words come back to haunt him.
I knew something was wrong. I knew that there was a problem.
Days before 17-year-old Brittany Drexel disappears, she has an emotional fight with her mother, Dawn, who has refused to let her go to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for spring break. Frustrated, Brittany asks to spend the rest of her vacation instead with a friend who lives nearby her home in Rochester, New York. Her mother agrees. But Brittany has no intention of staying in upstate New York. She decides to make the trip to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, over 14 hours and 6 states away. She visits her boyfriend John at work before leaving.
It's a difficult memory for me to think about because I had that running in the back of my head, just as everybody does when they're saying goodbye to somebody for a period of time. I think, you know, what if this is the last time I see them? What if something happens? But then I pushed those thoughts to the side and thought, it's only 3 days.
Brittany leaves Rochester with 4 other friends Wednesday night, hoping to be at the beach by the next morning.
The people that she went down with, I thought were trusting people. I didn't know them personally. She did ask me to come, and I could not go because I had work.
Over the next few days, Brittany and John are in constant contact via cell phone, sometimes texting several times an hour. She tells him that she is staying at a hotel on the beach called the Bar Harbor Hotel.
While she was down there, her first few texts were, this weather is incredible. I mean, the palm trees, being out by the ocean, it was incredible.
But it isn't only the soft sand and inviting water that entice Brittany and her friends. With an abundance of bars and clubs, The area is a paradise for high schoolers enjoying independence for the first time. While the drinking age is 21, many of the clubs allow kids as young as 17 to enter.
The bars and the clubs down at Myrtle Beach, it's more based around money. And they can get tons of teenagers to come in. And if they turn the blind eye to the fact that they're 16, 17 years old, they're still gonna make the money.
Brittany takes full advantage of her spring break freedom. She tells her mom that she's watching movies at her friend's house in Rochester, while sharing with John that she is having an amazing vacation hundreds of miles away.
She was having a ton of fun. She was out having a good time, living the spring break life. She was with a bunch of her friends, having a good time.
But by the second day, all that changes. Brittany starts feeling alienated from her friends.
Brittany had told me that they were using a lot of drugs. She wasn't into the drug scene, and therefore she tried to exclude herself from that, and she tried doing things on her own. She walked to the restaurant by herself. She walked down to the beach by herself. Clearly, being in South Carolina, being a 100-pound, pretty teenage girl, that's not an area where you want to be by yourself.
Early Friday evening, Brittany runs into a male friend from Rochester. 20-year-old Peter Brozowitz works for several local Rochester nightclubs. He's staying with some friends at the Blue Water Resort in Myrtle Beach, just a mile away from Brittany's hotel.
Peter Brozowitz was a kid who I didn't know personally, but Brittany did. He was always out at the parties at the clubs, so we became acquaintances through just the parties and knowing the same people. I assumed, being a good friend to Brittany, that he would watch over her.
On Saturday afternoon, Brittany's mom and sister, thinking that Brittany is at her friend's house in Rochester, call to say that they had just bought her a new pair of soccer cleats. They ask about her plans that day, now that the weather has suddenly shot up into the 80s, unusually warm for Rochester in April.
I asked her where she is, and she says I'm at the beach. Now, it was a decent day here in Rochester, and I thought she was at Charlotte Beach.
Charlotte Beach in Rochester is just 20 minutes from Brittany's house. Dawn still believes that Brittany is nearby and is being supervised by her friend's parents.
I had talked to her and also has to talk to a parent. She had put someone on the phone, I don't know who that was, and, said that it was okay for Brittany to stay there. And I asked Brittany what she had planned on doing later. And she said, well, we're gonna go over to my friend's house and we're just gonna watch movies and not do too much of anything.
Brittany tells her mom that she'll return home the next day and thanks her for letting her spend the past few days with her friends.
She goes, I'll see you tomorrow, and then I love you. And I said, okay, I love you too. And then we hung up.
A seemingly normal conversation will soon take on tragic significance. It becomes the last time Dawn talks to her daughter before she disappears. Meanwhile, Brittany decides to meet up with her friend Peter. Before she goes, she borrows a pair of shorts from one of her friends. At around 8 o'clock, Brittany texts John en route to meet Peter at the Blue Water Resort. She continues to report that she is having a miserable time and that she is looking forward to coming home the next day.
She hated being down there, and she didn't like the people she went down with.
Shortly after arriving at the Blue Water Resort, Brittany receives a text from her friend saying she wants her shorts back so she can wear them that night. Annoyed, Brittany tells Peter she has to walk back to her hotel, which is over a mile down the road. She texts John as she leaves.
And it was, I can't wait to come home. I can't wait to see you. I'm so angry at everybody down here. I said, I think that you should have a good time. Just try to relax. It's your last night. Try to enjoy it. You're down there anyways. You might as well try to enjoy it before you come home and get back to school.
Brittany and John text each other as she leaves the Blue Water Resort. But then, something strange happens. She stops responding to his messages.
I knew that something was up about 10 to 20 minutes later, but a half an hour later was when I really began to start freaking out. Me and Brittany talked every 10 minutes on the phone. I knew something was wrong. I knew that there was a problem of 30 minutes going by without talking to her.
An hour later, John is worried. He threatens to tell her mom the truth about where Brittany really is if she doesn't text him back.
I called Brittany, and there was no response, so I texted her, and I said, if she didn't get in contact with me, I was going to call her mom. And I was going to break the news to the family that she was down in South Carolina. A couple minutes went by. She didn't text me back, didn't call me back.
Meanwhile, Dawn Drexel, Brittany's mother, is just returning home after having dinner with a few friends when she gets the call from John.
Her mom said, I'm going to kill her. Like, there's no way that she went behind my back and did this without letting me know about it. And she was initially very angry, as any parent would be if they found out their kid was 14 hours away.
It wasn't registering until it started to sink in and I was thinking about it. Well, my heart dropped. I mean, what do you mean you can't find my daughter? And I started freaking out.
As soon as Dawn gets off the phone with John, she desperately tries to get in touch with Brittany.
When we were first texting her and calling her that night that she went missing, it would keep ringing and ringing and ringing, and then it started just to go to voicemail.
When I finished up work, it was 11 o'clock at night. And I got in my car and I headed right to Brittany's house. And I walked in the door and the whole family was sitting at the table. And I sat down and started to explain what happened.
Dawn calls the Rochester police, but they can't do much from upstate New York. So John reaches out to a friend of Brittany's in North Carolina, who drives straight to Myrtle Beach to file a missing persons report with local police. Meanwhile, Brittany's family and friends continue trying to reach her by phone, but each call goes straight to voicemail. The next morning, Brittany's mom, boyfriend, grandparents, and 2 friends head down to Myrtle Beach to search for Brittany, while her father, Chad, looks after her siblings.
Here I am driving down to Myrtle Beach, and I am just beside myself, thinking, how could this happen to my daughter? Where is she? Am I going to be able to find her?
Coming up, investigators get a break when they discover surveillance footage that could help them find the missing teen. Drexel has slipped off to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina for spring break, unbeknownst to her parents. At about 9 p.m., Saturday, April 25th, she's walking to her hotel while texting her boyfriend John, when suddenly her texts stop. Brittany is not seen or heard from again. Myrtle Beach Police Lieutenant Joseph Kapp and Detective Vincent Dorio head the investigation. As police begin the search for Brittany, her mother, her boyfriend John, her grandparents, and 2 friends are still en route from Rochester, New York to Myrtle Beach.
Trip down to South Carolina, I don't think anybody slept. It was extremely difficult because we knew that we're going down there to search for Brittany missing. It almost was a step out of reality. It was almost like this couldn't be happening.
Brittany has been missing about 12 hours. Myrtle Beach police launch an intensive search, fanning out in all directions from the hotel where Brittany was last seen. They canvass beaches and local hotels, looking for possible leads. Police find the friends with whom Brittany traveled from Rochester. They tell detectives they haven't been able to reach her since she disappeared, and have no idea where she could be. When Brittany's mother meets with Myrtle Beach investigators, they ask her about Brittany's home life.
They thought she ran away. And I know my daughter didn't run away. I mean, she was going to be 18. She felt like she was a grown-up. She was also looking at colleges and things like that.
No indication that she did a lot of drinking or anything of that nature while she was here.
Her brother and sister, she loves to death, and she would never leave them. Never up and leave them, willingly.
The morning after Brittany's last contact with her boyfriend, John, Myrtle Beach police are still hopeful this case will resolve quickly, like so many other spring break missing persons cases.
Especially with kids, is they'll go and sit on the beach and talk. They lose track of time is generally what happens.
Detective Dorio and Lieutenant Cap begin to work a lead. They learn that Peter Brozowitz, the young man Brittany went to see the night before, left town with his buddies at about 2 a.m. that morning, about 5 hours after Brittany vanished.
It appeared that they had left suddenly in the night. They had forgotten clothing and they didn't get a deposit. And I mean, these contributing factors appeared to be very, very suspicious.
As soon as Peter arrives back in Rochester, he is quick to acquire the representation of a criminal defense attorney. Investigators begin piecing together Brittany's last hours. On the way from her hotel to visit Peter and his friends at the Blue Water Resort, a traffic camera captures her walking and texting at about 8:15 p.m.
We do see her, she's walking alone and using her phone. And we verify that she was calling the people that she was going to visit to try and find the location of the motel.
According to Peter, Brittany left his room shortly after she arrived to go back to her hotel and return the pair of shorts to her friend. Detective Dorio checks the surveillance tapes of the Blue Water Resort. They verify Peter's story.
We get her going through the motel's front lobby doors and then a short time later exiting the motel and going northbound towards her motel.
Detective Dorio can now pinpoint the time Brittany left the Blue Water Resort, 8:48 p.m. Police estimate it should have taken Brittany about 15 minutes to reach the traffic camera on the return trip to her hotel.
Reviewing the tape on the traffic camera, we learned that Brittany never made it that far.
Somewhere between the Blue Water Resort and her own hotel, Brittany vanishes. Police continue to question Peter, the last known person to see Brittany Drexel. They're curious about his departure in the middle of the night, shortly after Brittany disappeared.
Peter totally cooperated with us. I mean, yes, he got an attorney, but he and his attorney were straightforward.
Peter tells them one of his friends was pressured by his mother to return to Rochester as soon as possible.
We followed up on all the information, what they told us they had done.
After investigating Peter's story, police find no evidence that he and his friends had anything to do with Brittany's disappearance. Unfortunately, investigators have no other leads on what may have happened to her, but they do obtain Brittany's cell phone records. What they find is not what they expect. The last known location of her cell phone is over an hour away in a very unwelcoming area. Coming up, is Brittany still alive?
It's the most horrific thing you would want to go through as a parent.
While Myrtle Beach police search the city for 17-year-old Brittany Drexel, Detective Vincent Dorio is investigating the last minutes before she disappears. On April 25th, 2009, what should have been the last night of her vacation, Brittany vanishes after visiting her friend Peter at the Blue Water Resort.
She was still in Myrtle Beach.
Ram Moore, a local reporter, has been tracking Brittany's case since her disappearance.
They were in the hotel room. I don't think she was there that long. She got a call from her friend saying, hey, can you bring me back kind of short? She left there, from what I understand. She was texting with her boyfriend.
The Blue Water surveillance tapes show Brittany leaving at 8:48 p.m. But Brittany never appears on footage from a traffic camera along the way, returning to her hotel. Now, with her cell phone records in hand, detectives hope to learn what happened during those crucial few minutes.
At 8:58, she writes back to John, no, I'm staying and packing and going to sleep probably. At that point, John asks, why babe, why boo?
According to Brittany's cell phone records, this exchange with John, her boyfriend back in Rochester, occurs 10 minutes after she leaves the Blue Water Resort. She is supposed to be walking back to her hotel, just over a mile away. But the records show that suddenly, all outbound activity from Brittany's phone stops after this text.
About 9:15, he starts writing back again, hey, why aren't you answering me? I'm concerned. At that point, that's when he starts text messaging her over and over. Where are you? You okay?
John texts some of the friends who traveled with Brittany to see if they can reach her, giving investigators their next lead.
And they start making calls, and that's how we're able to start tracking her, because the phone is going southbound.
Anytime one of her friends called Brittany, her cell phone would ping or communicate with the nearest cell phone tower. This tells investigators the approximate location of Brittany's phone at that moment. Although she is supposed to be heading north towards her hotel, at 9:27 p.m., about 30 minutes after her last text, the data reveals that Brittany's phone is heading southbound on Route 17. Her phone is pinging cell towers in an area called Surfside Beach, almost 7 miles south of Myrtle Beach. It would take 2 hours to walk there and about 15 minutes by car.
The phone itself, we were not sure if she was separated from the phone, was moving at a high enough rate of speed that it was in a vehicle.
Police aren't sure if the cell phone battery then dies or if it gets destroyed. But at 11:58 p.m., just 3 hours after Brittany's last text to John, her phone last pings tower number 332. It's located 2 counties and over 50 miles south of Myrtle Beach, near Georgetown County.
If you look at the timeline of the cell phone, made this 50-mile trek in a relatively short period of time. So it wasn't like it meandered down through the night. That cell phone made a beeline for Georgetown County.
The area is near the North Santee River, around the Pole Yard boat landing. It's an isolated, rural spot.
This right here is off the beaten path. There's nothing but country surrounding this area. The folks that would know it are fishermen or some of the locals from the town of Georgetown, maybe just across the river.
A 17-year-old from Rochester, New York is not going to end up at Pole Yard boat landing on a Saturday night during their spring break. It's a very rural part of the county, surrounded by water.
Myrtle Beach police launched their search here, in the area covered by cell phone tower number 332.
This right here is in the cell phone zone. It's about 4 miles wide, 5 miles deep. They staged here. The searchers then branched out to other likely zones.
The terrain in these parts is notoriously forbidding.
You have alligators in the river. There are wild hogs, plenty of snakes, lots of biting insects. It's not a very hospitable place for anybody to be at.
You can't imagine the conditions that searchers had to go through. Flies the size of golf balls. Very hot, very humid, very thick brush. A lot of dangerous wildlife.
After investigators conduct an initial search and find no trace of Brittany, local police and other agencies join forces to expand the effort.
Because of the phone, it goes through Horry, Georgetown, and Charleston County. So we have 3 different large agencies working this together.
Georgetown and Charleston furnished their boats with their sonar, and we checked the rivers. Charleston County had their helicopter there.
They did a massive ground search. They were running their ATVs through there every 20 minutes to get the alligators to back off so the dogs could come through. They had 6 shooters with their dogs because of the boar. I mean, it was just very dangerous.
While investigators comb the area, Dawn and Brittany's other loved ones hold out hope for some sign of Brittany.
There's a lot of questions going through my mind. It's the most horrific thing you would want to go through as a parent.
It was very intense. There were long days. There was a lot of ground covered. There's a lot of hope in the beginning that something was going to be found. It's about a week long of just intense searching, hundreds of volunteers out there, looking for that cell phone, looking for any clue of Brittany.
Monica Kaysen, director of the Q Center for Missing Persons, a family advocacy group that assembles volunteer search parties, is called in to help.
We were going in the first 11 days that Brittany disappeared. We searched sunup to sundown every day. All of the probable areas that people enter, the probable areas someone could have pulled offside the road, dirt roads with nobody lives on them at all.
Authorities know that the treacherous wildlife gives Brittany a slim chance of survival.
The urgency was there to get her before the wild animals did.
You know, there's always going to be hope. But while we're doing these searches, we certainly had numerous cadaver dogs.
When they had been doing this search, they had told me, they said if she's in this area, she would have been ate within 6 hours. You know, and I felt like they're thinking she's not alive, which scared me even more. I mean, you become frantic. I mean, you never think of your child going before you do.
The search teams find no sign of Brittany. Investigators continue combing the area and looking for leads, while Brittany's family and friends return to Rochester.
Coming home without Brittany was very, very difficult. I came home, her little brother Camden came over to my house and he goes, I thought you were bringing Britt home. And I just looked at him and I was like, I'm so sorry. She's not with me. The little brother and the little sister asking me, where is she? Why isn't she with you? And being as young as they are, it's hard to tell them answers.
I came back home, and I walked upstairs, and I had her pictures up. I had her clothes folded on my bed. I had, like, all of her stuff still reminding me. It's not a dream. It's not made up in my imagination. Brittany's really missing.
Where's my little girl? Is my little girl being tortured? Did my little girl get hurt and die? If that happened, how do I explain it to my little one? How do I do that? That Daddy can keep you safe from that. How do I do that? I just tell her that I will be here for you, that I'm not going to leave any of you guys.
Coming up, the investigation into Brittany's disappearance seems completely stalled until 8 months after she goes missing, when a potential clue finally emerges.
A week-long search for missing spring breaker Brittany Drexel turned up a possible piece of evidence in her disappearance.
17-year-old Brittany Drexel vanished while on spring break in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Police have no promising leads in the case. Finally, in mid-December, investigators get a tip. It prompts them to search an area just north of where they had previously traced Brittany's cell phone. They scour the banks of the Santee River, surrounded by swamps and alligators.
The Georgetown County had asked us to check out an area. That was a tip called in. We went over there to check it out. During that search, we were notified that the sunglasses were found.
While combing the area, authorities get an intriguing lead. A pair of sunglasses that could be Brittany's is spotted on the muddy embankment of the Santee River.
On the second day of that search, a man and his wife were on a boat. They had docked along the riverbank there to collect some firewood and came across a pair of sunglasses. They had seen the night before on the news that searchers were out there looking for a missing girl, and they thought it was odd, the place that they found these sunglasses. They found these sunglasses on a pretty desolate part of the riverbank. Investigators were pretty hopeful when they found them.
Brittany's mom wants to believe that the glasses could be her daughter's.
I had seen what the sunglasses look like, and I know Brittany had gotten a pair for Easter.
But others are skeptical they belong to Brittany.
I don't recognize them. It doesn't mean that when she was down there, she didn't buy them.
It was months and months after her disappearance. So why all of a sudden are glasses showing up there that don't have all the mud, all the weathered activity on it, the leaves, the branches, all that? It could just be they had hikers and someone lost them out of their backpack.
Since the sunglasses turn up a few miles from where the teams have resumed searching, those close to Brittany's case question whether the appearance of this potential clue might be calculated.
Someone may have put them there that has been getting some heat from the authorities and wanted to try to bring the search elsewhere from this property or this area to this area now.
Were they meant to be found? I feel confident that, if someone did put them there, that they wanted to be found.
Investigators send the glasses to forensics for testing.
They sent them off to see if they could collect DNA off of them to make any sort of match. And from what I've been told, there was no DNA on the glasses. Again, another dead end for Dawn Drexel and Brittany's family.
In early April, a few weeks before the one-year anniversary of Brittany's disappearance, police announced that they have identified 3 to 4 persons of interest in the case.
The people that we're looking at feel really good about all of our little pieces of evidence. They haven't been tied in yet, but they're all pointing in the same direction, towards certain people.
Detectives will not reveal more information, yet they say they now believe this is no longer a missing persons case, but a homicide. However, Detective Dorio still needs more to file charges.
Just a matter of time now before everything gets put together and we can say, yes, here's a solid arrest.
While investigators continue pursuing the case, Dawn Drexel has her own theory and believes Brittany may have been abducted.
I think Brittany's still alive. I think somebody's holding her against her will. I've heard a lot about human trafficking. Anybody can be a trafficker. That person could be somebody that you meet and become friends with. It could be somebody that promises you, a modeling career, or you can make this much money, or anything.
If you know Brittany, if you're close to Brittany, you gotta watch out for her. You cannot let her just walk around by herself because she thinks that nothing can hurt her. She's too trusting of people, and you need to watch out for her.
However, authorities are skeptical that this is a human trafficking case.
We've got no indication. We've had no history. Most of your human trafficking, they target victims where there's a language barrier, and generally where human trafficking takes place, it continues to take place. We've had nothing prior or since that would be an indicator.
Human trafficking in South Carolina is not a problem that I know about, at least. Being from South Carolina, you never hear about human trafficking.
We can't eliminate it, but it's certainly not at the forefront of our investigation.
In an effort to generate new leads in the investigation, police released to the media a new and important piece of evidence.
There is some new information in the disappearance of the New York teenager who vanished nearly a year ago.
A video of Brittany Drexel, shot just 24 hours before she disappeared.
Hey, Brett.
A college student from the Midwest, who had also been vacationing in Myrtle Beach, shot this video on the night of Friday, April 25th.
Do you guys feel that basketball saves lives in our community?
Oh, yeah, it's definitely. Can't be out on the streets. Because it is my fault. So if you're in the gym, and worst man in the streets, you might have just messed up movie that was for somebody else before you.
Our whole world collapsed in that day.
And whatever coward did this, I hope you caught. Turn yourself in.
It was willful, deliberate, premeditated. They wanted Lamont Adair dead.
He was a good child. He was a good guy. He was doing something that, mattered.
The video is chilling because you just see the brazen act very clearly.
And my brother did not leave the house thinking that he was going to die that day. He was the one who made the call for him to come up there. He was the one who put Lamont in a location to be a victim of this murder.
Outside of Washington, D.C., a 24-year-old aspiring basketball star, Lamont Adair, has just earned the opportunity of a lifetime. The chance to play professional ball in China.
Oh, he loved basketball. It didn't matter what was going on. If someone called him, Lamont, you want to play ball? He was there. I'm Urania Jackson. I am Lamont's older sister. He always had a basketball somewhere in his hands. Next to family, basketball was everything.
You think it's funny, too? You think it's funny?
He was just really excited. My name is Darlene Rainey. I'm Lamont William Adair Jr.'s mom. He didn't care if he went overseas. He didn't care if he played for the NBA. He just liked to play ball. I thought he played better than Michael Jordan, but
For him, it was like the break that he's been waiting for. Everything was falling into place. Everything was going the way he wanted it to go.
Lamont's path to professional success was full of adversity, but he's always had the support of an adoring family.
Lamont was born on October 23rd, 1993, in the morning, the day of my baby shower. I was helping, well, I wasn't supposed to be helping with the baby shower, but I was. So I started having labor pains.
We were setting up decorations and everything, and she started having contractions, and she drove herself to the hospital. I was in the 6th grade, and I remember being so excited. He had everyone's heart and wrapped around his fingers, basically.
A little spoiled, but in the sense that that's family, and he's a baby brother. Whatever he wanted, he could have gotten from any of us.
Oh, Lord. As a child, Lamont was very busy. Anything that we were doing, he wanted to do it. That's where his basketball career came in, because we would play basketball across the street from my grandmother's house. So whenever we played, we didn't go easy on him. We would just play him just like anyone else. Like, you're going to have to beat us to get to the court. So I think him going through that, it actually helped build his skill.
He started to really hone in on his craft. Like, he was really good at it and really competitive. And then when he started getting taller, it was just like, wow. We called him Monty, but on the basketball court, they called him Tree. He did own the name Tree, just like in his reach, reaching for the ball, being able to dunk.
High school success leads to a chance to play college ball in the Midwest.
He's the first out of all of my mom's kids to go away to college, so we're excited. Iowa was a bit far for us, but you know where he is, and you know he's going for a purpose.
I said, so what do you do out there in Iowa? He's like, they don't do anything but tip cows out here. And I was like, what is that? He's like, they tip cows over. I think he really missed home a lot.
After some basketball injuries and bouts of homesickness, Lamont drops out. Back in Seat Pleasant, he must contend with a different set of concerns.
The level of violence is escalating here. It worried him to come back home. He was scared that something would happen to him.
You would hear of gun violence. You would hear of, different tragedies. If you cross out of Maryland, you're right there in D.C., and sometimes the crime from D.C. would come over into Prince George's County.
But Lamont continues to work on his game, and in 2018, earns his shot to play in China. Months earlier, he received even more thrilling news from an ex-girlfriend. Lamont is going to be a father.
His son's name is Makai. I remember the first time meeting him, I was like, he is the epitome of his father. It just is amazing how DNA is passed to the next generation, because he acts just like him. His stance and everything is just like him.
On August 7th, Lamont shares exciting news about his son with his sister Urania.
I remember he came and showed me a video, and he's like, "Did you see Makai walking?" He shows me the phone. He was like, "He's walking."
Oh my gracious!
And this is as he's leaving out of the door. And I give him a hug, and I said, I love you, be safe. And he was like, "Okay, I'll see you later." And, I hold that memory and I cherish it, because who would ever think that that would be the last time I see my little brother alive?
The next day, Lamont's older sister receives an alarming call.
I'm at the gas station pumping gas, and the phone rings. This guy that Lamont grew up with, he's like, "Your brother just got shot." He just got shot? Like, what do you mean he just got shot? "Oh no, your brother just got shot." And so, I started crying. I asked where it was, and he said it was on Craig Street. And when I called 911, I told the operator that somebody just called me and told me that my brother was shot, because they sent an ambulance. And she said the police were there. I'm praying that he's okay. Please keep the blood flowing to his heart.
I'm Jonathan Church. I am a Deputy State's Attorney in Prince George's County State's Attorney's Office. The police get a 911 call for the shots fired on Griggs Street. And when they arrive, they find that a man was suffering from multiple gunshot wounds.
My name is Thea Zumwalt. I'm an Assistant State's Attorney in Prince George's County, Maryland. Paramedics arrived within minutes of the call. He was found between a parked car, and then the curb, and they determined that he was unresponsive.
So as soon as he is pronounced dead, homicide unit shows up. One goal is to come collect all the forensic evidence that they can find. He has his phone with him. So they do identify him as Lamont Adair. And then that starts the homicide detectives running.
The reports that they were getting was that a car drove by and was firing. So they had casings all along the road that they had to make sure that they got them all.
It was somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 fired cartridge casings, which really indicates to us that the gun was fired probably to the point of where it was empty. It was apparent based on the location of the gunshot wounds that some of those are what's called defensive wounds, where he was moving and trying to avoid being shot at, which would give you an indication that the person was walking up on him as he was firing as well.
There were several buildings to this complex, and that apartment complex did have several cameras. So they made it a priority to secure the footage for that.
They don't get to view it right away, so they're dragging in as much potential evidence as possible that might help solve, number one, what that vehicle was, and then who was in the vehicle at the time, and then who would have had a reason to do this.
And once the initial scene is secured, and in this case there was no one who committed the crime who was on scene, so they were able to secure it pretty quickly. And it was a pretty large area that they had to cordon off.
So when we got there, they had it taped off and wouldn't let us get to where he was. And they was, not letting me see him. That, "No, you can't come close." I said, "No, I'm going to see him." But when you deliver a baby and they cut the umbilical cord, it's still an invisible umbilical cord still there. Because you can feel one of your kids, there's something going wrong. I just think about how a waste of life it was.
Investigators discover critical clues in Lamont's final moments.
This person who shot Lamont knew him.
A surprising motive emerges.
The phrase everybody uses is, "the streets are talking."
There were several rumors that he was a snitch for the police.
And the killer's inner world is revealed.
He's hot-headed. He gets angry.
On 8/8/2018, this is where Lamont William Adair Jr., Tree, Monty was murdered at. Today is his 27th birthday. We miss you, Monty. Rest in peace. Baller for life.
As investigators process the scene of Lamont Adair's murder, local media race to cover the tragedy.
And whatever coward did this, I hope you caught. Turn yourself in.
So a crowd starts to gather because it's a very populated area and it's midday. There's an entire team of detectives that spread out and look at different things, knocking on every door of every apartment that had a window that oversaw where this happened, asking people's names and identification information and phone numbers. What did you see?
There really wasn't anything clear in the immediate information that the detectives received for them to go to figure out why him.
In search of leads, detectives turn back to a piece of evidence recovered from the crime scene.
When Mr. Adair is found, he has his phone with him, and the phone can be like a wealth, a treasure trove of information. They can identify who his family members are, who he is in particular, start talking with family members.
Later that evening, investigators asked Darlene about Lamont's movements that afternoon.
I told them they were living at my house. Lamont and Makai. Lamont had his room downstairs. So he was down there about maybe 2 or 3 hours playing with Makai. And then I think he got a phone call because he came upstairs and he went in he said, "Here, Mom, take him." He was going out to work out like he normally did, but he was meeting somebody.
What she didn't realize is what seemed like an everyday moment would be one of Lamont's last.
I don't know why, but something just told me look out the door. When I saw him walking down the street, and he was gone.
So initially, after talking to family and friends of Lamont Adair, there isn't somebody that readily stands out as a suspect because he's not involved in anything that we're aware of that would have made him a target.
Investigators then turn their focus to Lamont's online activity in the days leading up to his final moments.
There are a team of detectives checking his social media to see who he posted recently with, what he might have said, whether it was something that might have been responded to hostilely.
From what was in his phone, he lived a normal 20-something-year-old talented, handsome individual's life.
Lamont's family, however, believe his growing notoriety and recent success may have made him a target.
A lot of people were upset with Lamont because of the opportunities that he has. And we're all like, we know he was just about to go play basketball overseas, and really, a lot of people were jealous of him.
He was headed to the basketball court not far from where he was shot and killed. Who was he meeting there? Were the people there that were supposed to be there? Where were the people that he was supposed to meet if they weren't there? One of the people that Lamont may have been going to play basketball with was a man by the name of Thomas.
As they process the events of August 8th, Lamont's family have grown suspicious of the friend who invited him to play ball that afternoon.
My brother did not leave the house thinking that he was going to die that day. Thomas told Lamont, "Let's go play basketball."
People were going around saying that Thomas set it up, which we felt that way anyway, because it was just too coincidental that you call him and tell him to come up and play.
Rumors suggest that Thomas may have coordinated with the gunman to get Lamont to Gregg Street.
If anyone were able to call him somewhere, it would be Thomas because he trusted him.
The indication was that he was plotting to do this to Lamont. There were rumors. He knew that it was happening and they helped facilitate it.
Lamont's family have tipped off investigators to a friend who may have been involved in the murder.
Thomas was somebody who was on scene at the time of the murder. Detectives were looking at him as possibly being involved, or at least not telling what he really knew about it.
Thomas was one of the first names that I gave to the detectives. He was the one who made the call for him to come up there. He was the one who got him to come out of the house. He was the one who put Lamont in a location to be a victim of this murder.
Police actually interviewed Thomas. He came into the station and they interviewed him there to determine whether he might have been involved or what he knew.
Investigators begin by questioning Thomas about his plans for that day.
So when police talked to him, he's very quiet, trying to figure things out. You can tell he's contemplative. He had not yet met with Lamont and didn't know anything that was useful. They just didn't get any information that was usable from Thomas.
Detectives then set out to validate his version of events.
We had 6 or 7 cell phone dumps that we went through. His phone was pulled, and there was no indication that he had anything to do with the murder of Lamont Adair.
They could tell that he called Lamont up to the scene. He was the one who made the call for him to come up there. But they didn't feel like he was involved.
After clearing Thomas, detectives gain access to the footage from the housing complex that could reveal Lamont's final moments.
So when police actually pull the footage of this video camera that's on the corner of one of the apartment buildings, it does a 360-degree pan. Every couple seconds, it starts to pan away into the back through an alley to another street and then back around to the front. And we have very small snippets of it because it's rotating the entire time.
Detectives then cue the tape up to the moment in question.
And at about 3:49, 3:50 that afternoon, you can see an individual who we know is Lamont Adair based on where he falls and where police find him. And then eventually you see a gray Toyota Corolla pull up. And that's when the driver's door opens and the driver jumps out of the vehicle and approaches Lamont Adair.
The video is chilling because you see the figure just fire, shooting in broad daylight, and you see Lamont get down to his knees and he's trying to fight. But he's just executed on the street in front of everybody.
And then the camera pans out of view.
When the camera returns to the scene, the final moments of the tragedy unfold.
After he had shot Lamont, he runs back to the driver's side. He can't get into the driver's side. He hops to the back of the car. He gets in and the car drives away. We couldn't identify any movement in the car, but we were able to determine that there was somebody else in the car at the time who was in the driver's seat because the car drove away with the defendant in the back.
We know there's another person who witnessed the shooting, a person who slid into the driver's seat and shut the door.
To me, this person who shot Lamont knew him. I mean, it was willful, deliberate, premeditated. They wanted Lamont Adair dead.
I'm Aisha Braveboy, State's Attorney for Prince George's County, Maryland. Surveillance video can be extremely helpful in identifying suspects. In this case, however, it was very, very grainy, so it was very difficult to make out the features of the suspect.
You can tell that the driver who exited the car had dreads, was an African-American male. Beyond that, there was nothing in that video that could tell us who that was. It was a very small, common car, gray in color. There was nothing unique about it. There was no way to tell the license plate.
But upon rewatching Lamont's final moments, they observe someone else who may be able to identify the killer.
So the shooting takes place right here, but in the video you actually see this maintenance worker had pulled up to the main street where the defendant's car was traveling. But you saw in the video, they saw everything. And then initially when I reviewed this video, I said to John, like, let's get this maintenance worker in.
Days later, investigators bring this eyewitness in for questioning.
How you doing, sir? I do appreciate you coming and taking the time to talk to me. I'm sure you're busy and really don't want to be involved. I just want to get some basic information from you. And what do you do over there? On the day of the shooting, you remember that day?
Yeah.
Can you tell me what happened?
They just put it in the pull up in the car because he just come pull up, start shooting.
The person that was doing the shooting, can you describe the person at all?
We missed them. Lamont's 27th birthday, baller for life, celebration of his life. This is Lamont's niece that he never met. She'll be a year old. All right, this month.
It's Calvin, a friend of Monty. Man, we miss you down here. You know, you want to live forever, be your family, real friends. Happy birthday, happy 27th birthday. We love you, miss you.
Happy birthday, Monty. 27th birthday.
Investigators are questioning a witness who observed Lamont Adair's final moments in hopes of identifying the shooter.
On the day of the shooting, you remember that day?
They just put it in the pull up in the car because he just come pull up, start shooting.
The person that was doing the shooting, can you describe the person at all?
I don't know the person who got shot. I don't know the one who shot.
Did you see someone get out of the car?
No.
No?
No.
Can't describe anything about them?
No, because I'm scared. I don't wait for, I don't look for nothing.
This maintenance worker, he didn't see anything.
You know, black, white, Asian.
No.
So it was a very frustrating, moment for us.
I appreciate you coming in to talk to me. I mean, of course, I wish you had more information, but I appreciate you.
The witness's failure to identify the shooter highlights a major challenge detectives are facing.
Sadly, there is an anti-snitching mentality for witnesses, and a lot of that probably is out of fear. And they've got to live with the people that may have been involved in the incident.
I understand the very real danger that people may feel if they do talk about cases. But in this particular case, it was so frustrating to see the number of people out, and nobody saw anything who could really tell us where to go.
In the face of community silence, Lamont's family decides to speak out.
The neighborhood didn't talk. So we got together as a family and we're like, well, we need to go up there and protest. We walked from the street where he was murdered all the way down to the rec center.
What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now!
The thing that mattered to me most was making sure someone opened their mouth enough to find out who did this to my brother.
Don't sit and hide behind the windows and curtains. Tell what you know. I said, today is my son, Lamont William Adair Jr. Tomorrow it could be your father, your brother, somebody you love, so you would want to tell what happened because you would want somebody to tell you what happened to your family member.
In the days following the protest, it's apparent that their message is getting through.
People had started inboxing me from seeing us on the news, from seeing us up there protesting, from us pleading with the community members to speak up.
The detectives fielded many reports from the family about what they had heard, who they heard it from, and the family was really active in trying to just find out information and funnel it to the detectives.
One rumor suggests that an incident in Lamont's past made him a target for revenge.
There were several rumors. One of them was that he was possibly a snitch for the police. That was basically that came up because he had recently, prior to this, had acquired a weed charge where he was found in a car smoking some weed.
Like most of the kids his age, Lamont has started recreational use of marijuana. I think that's the way that he, detached from his issues or problems. And he had gotten into some trouble, and they arrested him.
It seems that after the arrest, Some individuals may have viewed Lamont with suspicion.
I don't believe he was in jail for very long when he had been arrested for that. And certainly some of the rumors that circulate is that if you're out quickly, that you must be working with the police. And I guess the phrase everybody uses is the streets are talking. And so some of the original rumors that went around were that potential suspects could be people who weren't happy about that.
Detectives reach out to their partners in the narcotics unit.
It wasn't a big charge. There would be no reason for him to want to subject himself to the dangers of becoming a snitch to work off a weed charge.
We had no knowledge that he had been working with police on anything.
Lamont didn't tell on anybody. He took the charge, and then he put that moment behind him, and he moved forward. Like, that little scare turned his life around.
It's another dead end. But then, a friend of Lamont approaches police, claiming she has knowledge about the gunman seen on the surveillance video.
Do you want something to drink real quick while I get my stuff?
No, I'm fine.
Say your full name, please.
Kenya had asked to talk to the detectives in charge of the case because she believed she had some information about who had done it. And that's when the case really got started.
Detectives begin by asking Kenya about her connection to Lamont.
He's been over my house, but Lamont has been my friend for so long, I would never do anything to put him in any type of harm's way.
So, explain to me, you said you believe you know a motive.
Kenya then reveals something that she previously kept secret. She and Lamont were more than just friends.
So I'm not denying that Lamont and I had anything going on.
When did you start sleeping with Lamont?
We didn't start sleeping together until like June. And that's why I'm coming here.
According to Kenya, the relationship with Lamont pushed her ex over the edge.
What makes you think that, because of everything else going on between you and him, that he would go and kill Lamont?
I really feel like he did it. He's hot-headed. He gets angry. He's a loose cannon. I feel like he did it just because of the situation. I'm worried that if he did do it, he might come after me.
Well, what would make you think he would do it?
On August 10th, 2018, a woman named Kenya tells investigators that her ex, Franklin Scott, may have killed Lamont Adair.
She wanted the police to know that she and Franklin Scott had a pretty tumultuous relationship consisting of several protective orders, but also 2 young children. So they were on again, off again. I believe there was allegations that he had tased her. So there was definitely a rocky relationship there. That relationship officially ended in the beginning of May of 2018.
Because he's seen that Lamont was so supportive of me. He hacked into my Snapchat and he's seen how often Lamont and I were together.
Franklin Scott was clearly obsessed with Lamont Adair and the relationship that Lamont had had with Kenya.
Frank is short. He's like 5'3", and he's always self-conscious about that. Like, you don't want me because I'm small, I'm short, you want to talk. It's so messed up that you just moved on with a basketball player.
He lost it, knowing that she ran to basically his worst nightmare, a talented, tall, good-looking guy.
It makes me cry, but I really feel like he did it.
Then she offers more details that increase the detective's interest.
What's he look like?
He's short. He's about 5'3". He has dreads.
What kind of hair does he have?
He has dreads, long dreads.
How long are they?
Maybe like...
Down there?
Yeah.
He had long dreads. He matched the physical description of the person who conducted the shooting. Franklin Scott did have a prior firearms charge, so we knew from that he had access to weapons. So that also was something that we were looking at as important.
When they asked Kenya what type of vehicle he drives, She says that he used to drive a BMW and that was in the shop. She mentions that she believes he's been driving a rental vehicle, possibly a gray Toyota.
The same type of car observed in the surveillance video. Investigators then ask about her contact with Scott on August 8th.
She told police that she received a phone call from Franklin Scott the day of the murder. She was at work at the time.
He was in the car driving when I was speaking to him.
Do you remember hearing any voices, anybody else that could have been with him?
It was somebody else with him. He has like, I know his voice is kind of deep but high at the same time.
She said she recognized that voice to be Elijah Jackson because his voice is characteristically raspy.
It was O.J. Jackson. He had a nickname of O.J. the Shooter. He had a prior record as well.
If you had to leave right now and go find him, where would you go?
I don't know. Mom, maybe at OJ's house.
At the time, the detectives were looking everywhere for him. They put out feelers everywhere trying to track him down. But after the murder, they were already gone.
To narrow the search, they continue to focus on the vehicle spotted in the video.
It's not until Kenya kind of comes out and we find out that the suspect rented a vehicle. She mentions a gray Toyota. Eventually, they do locate the rental vehicle, parked on a street in the Seat Pleasant area.
After the murder, Franklin Scott basically parked the Corolla and walked off.
A search of the car reveals bullet fragments inside. But there's no sign of the murder weapon. Then, in their quest to locate Scott, investigators recall a detail from his criminal past.
They knew that he had to report for his pending gun charge in Anne Arundel County.
One of the detectives realized that Mr. Scott had a court date. And so on August 23rd, Prince George's County Police Department were sitting on the Anne Arundel County Courthouse in Glen Burnie, Maryland, waiting for Mr. Scott to show up for his court date. And it was then that they arrested him for the murder of Lamont Adair.
If he had thought that Kenya would be likely to talk, I think he wouldn't have set foot in that courthouse.
He's taken to the Criminal Investigation Division for the Prince George's County Police Department, and he asks for a lawyer so the police never get a chance to speak to him.
Eager to collect more evidence against Scott, detectives begin monitoring his phone calls from prison.
Within the week that he was arrested, he had made some jail calls asking his acquaintance to help him get rid of his babies, which the detectives were able to determine he was talking about his guns.
Locating the weapon used in the murder would bolster the prosecution's case.
Unfortunately, they listened to the jail calls a couple days after they were made, so by the time they were able to get a search warrant and search the house, there was no indication of any firearms there.
The failure to find the weapon is a blow to the investigation.
What we had at that time was not enough. It was enough for probable cause, which got Franklin Scott to be arrested, but it wasn't enough to find him guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. We knew we needed somebody involved in that moment to be able to be in court and point at Franklin Scott and say he's the one who shot repeatedly at Lamont Adair and killed him.
That man is Elijah Jackson.
If we wanted who was truly responsible for this, we had to find him.
Investigators must track down his suspected accomplice, O.J. Jackson.
I had been watching social media and OJ was traveling. He would go to Texas or Florida, I think it was, come back. Like, he's active on his social media page.
But 16 days after the homicide, police get word that Jackson has returned to the Seat Pleasant area.
On August 24th, police find Elijah Jackson at his home, and that's when they bring him in to interview him about his involvement.
They interviewed him pretty extensively for a couple hours. At the end of the interview, he got real quiet, and the detectives asked him something, and he indicated that he wanted to talk to his mother. And his mother came in, and you saw a pretty profound exchange.
His mother tells him, you need to tell the police the truth. You don't need to be going down for this. You need to be honest.
Elijah Jackson is finally ready to provide a first-hand account of the tragic events captured by the security camera.
He made it sound like he bumped into Franklin Scott as he was walking. I think that Franklin Scott picked him up.
He hears Franklin Scott say, there he goes. The car slows down, pulls a gun out of the driver's side door, handle shoots out the window a few times, opens the door and jumps out of the car. And he says the car keeps going, and he jumps over into the driver's seat and put the brake on.
Then Jackson observed Lamont's final moment.
Scott is standing over Lamont Adair and firing. I think it all happened so fast, and it was a surprise to OJ. OJ Jackson just wanted to get out of Dodge.
OJ indicated that he was not expecting it. However, he did get into the front driver's side seat. He was ultimately charged with accessory after the fact.
Franklin Scott accepted responsibility for what he did as well, and primarily because he knew that Elijah Jackson was going to offer testimony against him.
Franklin Scott pled guilty to first-degree murder. I'm pretty proud of that. It's a more certain outcome than going to trial. So I'm happy with the results.
Elijah Jackson is serving a 6-year sentence. Franklin Scott is serving 50 years.
The heartbreaking part about it was, if I recall correctly, the mothers knew each other from the neighborhood. That was a really profound thing to sit and observe.
I mean, I know Franklin's mother, but I hadn't seen Franklin in a long time, so I couldn't identify him from a cracked egg. I walked over, I said, how you doing? And she just started shaking and crying. My son was the one who killed your son. Of course, I hug her, and my kids are like, Mom, why are you hugging her? And I felt one mother to another. You know, my son is dead, yours going away for 50 years. It's like he almost dead. But told him, I said, I have to forgive you for the God in me, but I'll never forget what you have stole from my family, me and my family. You took something very dear from us. Lamont, Tree, Monty. You had no right to do that. You weren't God, but you tried to play God that day.
With the murder case resolved, the family continues to process their grief and replay Lamont's final moments.
Makai had just started walking right before Lamont passed. He shows me the phone, and I'm just like trying to hold back the tears. I had a feeling about Lamont, like it was the last time I was going to see him. It was very weird when I think about it, and how I felt like I had to just let him go because I was getting teary-eyed, and that was the last time I saw Lamont. Him sharing a moment from Makai being able to walk.
I wish I had offered him a ride that day. It's a lot of things you look at and you're like, you could have done differently, but yeah. I don't know. I just, like, I think about him all the time.
You know, Lamont knew we loved him, and he loved us. And at the end of the day, nothing else matters. Go ahead.
When you look at it, the person touches like so many people, and it's disappointing.